Hi, and welcome to the Skilltree podcast. On this show, we'll be interviewing the team behind Skilltree, its community, and creators that are all making this movement happen. This is our first iteration of the show. We really want to show the behind the scenes and who's really building what. On the show today, we have Gabe Ruszala, our machine learning engineer. He is building the pose detection models that are behind a multitude of features on the Skilltree app. This includes our dual feature, our workout challenges, and our independent practice. So, Gabe, welcome.
Jack, I've known you for a long time. Yeah, you're a good friend of mine, but it's always a pleasure to be talking with you. Thanks for having me on the show, Jack.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. I know we don't speak at length too often like this. It's a little awkward. Um, yeah, so I just wanted to share a little bit about what you've been working on and kind of your journey with us here at Skilltree. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you've been on the team since pretty much the end of December. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. Since end of December, early January, can't remember exactly when.
Yeah, and it's been great having you on the team. You've been really, really good at what you do. I know coming into it, you haven't really understood like what the role was, but you've kind of learned the processes, and now I think you understand a lot more than anyone else on the team. Um, but yeah, just explain a little bit about kind of what you do and what your function is on the team.
Yeah, so first thing that I'll touch upon is yes, like when I joined this role, I really didn't have much of an understanding of what I was doing. I mean, this really was like an entry-level machine learning role. I was interested in machine learning, but I didn't know where to start. And as a student, like in this economy, there's really very few entry level jobs. So I'm really just trying to get my foot in the door, get some experience, try to actually just learn. So Skilltree was really that opportunity for me to learn about machine learning, to start from zero, to really ask a lot of questions, to do a lot of deep investigation. And so I'm really grateful for that opportunity. I really think I have learned a lot over the past 6 months, because I have had this opportunity to and a lot of freedom really to kind of just ask the questions that I want to ask and to um, go down the directions that I want to go down. It's one of the beautiful things about being a part of a startup is the amount of freedom that you have. Of course, there's like a lot of risk, a lot of uncertainty. Like, is anyone actually gonna buy my product? Are people going to think that my work is good? But yeah, one of the great rewards is that you can really learn so much in this role. So that's the first thing. Now, what do I actually do? Um, so I am behind the machine learning models that you experience that count your reps, and that um, time your holds when you're using the Skilltree app. Now, it's not just me that's been a part of this. It's been a team effort. So I would like to give a special shout out to Snigda, who was on the team for about 6 months as well. And she really played a large role in getting the plank models out there, getting the handstand models out there, and we bounced ideas off of each other for um, a long time. And really grew in our shared understanding of how machine learning works. So special shout out to her. This was not a solo operation. And then another special shout out to Musa, who actually put the models on the phone. So what Snigda and I were doing was we were gathering the data, feature engineering, building neural networks, and producing the TensorFlow neural networks that would be used to predict your calisthenics movements, count your reps, time your holds. But Musa was the one that actually put it on the phone. That's actually like not as trivial as it may appear. It's not a big deal to put a machine learning model into a mobile phone app. And I know that like with MediaPipe and React and Expo, he's faced a lot of engineering challenges. So special shout out to him. But yeah, with that being said, um, the machine learning models that you use when you use our dual feature or when you're counting your reps. There's a feature to do like as many push-ups as you can in 30 seconds, for example. Um, I've had my hand in most of those. If I've had my hand in all of those, yeah.
That's awesome. I do want to circle back a little bit. I know
Mhm.
for some of the people that are first tuning in, they might not know kind of where Skilltree came from or our background, even our relationship. So, just as a kind of preface, uh, Skilltree originally, it was started in the Blackstone Launchpad at UCSD. So, it's one of the startup incubators on our campus. Me specifically being a student from UCSD. Now, I think for, like you said, a lot of us who, even myself, like when I joined this basement, I was there as it was to learn. I didn't know anything about startups or entrepreneurship when I applied last fall. I just had a project in mind and I was interested. I saw that they had applications open, so I threw my hat in the ring and um, got accepted, and now am really loving the entrepreneurial journey, but still very much as a learning process. Even now, there's still so much to learn just about how to grow a company and really staying to the core mission values. Um, but from there, Gabe, yeah, you and I, we We met through a previous organization, I think, called the United States Collegiate Calisthenics Organization. You and I both ran our
Correct.
own calisthenics club.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
So that's actually where the concept came from for the app is at least running my own club at UCSD, I was able to kind of see the pain points that a lot of users had, especially on, let's say, timing, right? Students, they don't really have a lot of time. They can't come to our workouts. And having something right in your pocket that's able to replicate kind of that experience, that community aspect is something that I wanted to really bring to life. In addition to our trainers, I think one of the big things for these clubs is really telling you how to do these movements correctly. A lot of times, beginners in the gym, they don't know what they're doing and a lot of times can injure themselves very quickly if they are repeatedly doing something incorrectly. And so that's really where the utility of the pose detection models come in is, making sure that people understand, yes, this is the right way to do it, and you should be doing this rep like this every single time. Because let's say you have some imbalance in your arms, or maybe you're doing your push-ups a little weird, right? You can really cause for some long-term damage if you are watching YouTube videos and just learning off that without any feedback. Um, but yeah, it's really been great getting to know you. It's been about a year since we first got introduced, and I think everything you're doing and everything you've done for your club at Rutgers is all very impressive. Um, Especially, I know you guys are, I think, trying to build some parks in the community,
Yes.
which I very much support. So yeah, props to
Yes.
you.
Uh, Thank you, Jack. And I could say the same thing about you and what you've done at UCSD. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of interesting things that you touched upon. I think the first thing that I want to expand on is how you talked about like the potential for these machine learning models to correct your form and really be like a virtual trainer teaching um, users how to correctly perform their movements. I think there is a lot of potential for that. Jack, Mr. CEO, I'm gonna be honest, they're not there right now. Right now, we can only count your reps and time your holds, and the form that you have to do in order for your reps to be counted is generally good form, but we're still working on making them even more precise. So, um, the problem of assessing form in your calisthenics movements using a framework like MediaPipe. Um, it's not like it's not as trivial of a problem as I first expected, because a lot of people when they're building these these movement trackers, like we're not the first people to attempt a push-up tracker, for example. And what a lot of people have done is like MediaPipe, so it'll produce like a point at significant landmarks on your body. There's like, I think 33, I think there's 33 landmarks in total across your body. And so yeah, also MediaPipe, it's a Google framework. They detect your body and then they place like the points on your body using information gathered from a convolutional neural network. And then what I do is I take that information, I put it through another machine learning model, and I teach it the relationships between like different body positions and different parts of the movement, like up versus down on the push-up. Um, but anyways, what most people will do when they're trying to create something like a push-up detector is they will try to use MediaPipe to get the angle. For example, let's say the angle between your shoulder, your elbow, and your wrist. Um, so a lot of people, they'll try to get the angle between that, and they'll say like, okay, if the angle of my shoulder, elbow, and wrist goes past 90 degrees, then I'm in the down position. And if it extends around 180 degrees, I'm in the up position. And so that's a very common approach that people will use. But the problem is that like I can just go like this, right? I can just curve my arm and extend my arm, and I don't actually have to be doing push-ups on the ground or just to do that, and it would still count my reps. So those types of systems can be easily cheated. And so in order to,
Yeah, absolutely.
right,
I think we've seen that in I think Red Bull recently had something on Snapchat that was like, I don't know if you played with that. It was kind of like a pose detection thing, and they were t trying to have you challenge these athletes on the filter. But
okay.
um, yeah, if it was interesting. I was very surprised they had something come out like that, especially as we were building our product. But kind of like you said, yeah, you could really cheat the system. I think I was on the floor just like kind of doing my head like this,
Yeah.
moving my arms at the same time, and it was counting my push-ups.
Okay.
So I totally agree. Yeah, like those systems are a little bit broken. So like, what do you think is the best way to kind of mitigate the amount of cheating or even just error, I guess you could say?
Um, yeah. So actually, I just want to follow up. So the system that was produced by Red Bull, like it was like easily cheatable. Well, yeah, it was like you were just putting your head down and stuff. Yeah, it's a common issue. And I think there were two ways that I was thinking about going about this. The first way was like you can just place even more logical restrictions on like what angles your body has to be in. Um,
Put like an
but
identifier for the floor or something like
yeah,
that.
some kind
Make
of
sure the
identifier for a floor,
hmm
maybe like some kind of way to tell based on the angles of your body or like the XY coordinates of your points that you're on the floor. Um, so I tried that first because that just seemed like the simpler solution. But MediaPipe actually like isn't super precise itself. And so like different body types, like MediaPipe's going to return different angles based on the shape of your body. And so it was really challenging to try to come up with some angle threshold that your joints had to be at that, would be accurate, precise, and generalizable to a whole bunch of body types. So the angle solution, I don't think it works as well, unless there are some set of rules that you could come up with, but uh, I didn't invest too much time in that area. The area that I went down was machine learning. Basically, just feature engineering, focusing on which points that the machine learning model should focus on. And yeah, just a straight up machine learning approach, teaching the machine learning model, the relationship between coordinates and positions of your push-up, for example. Yeah, like coming up with all those logic rules is a very challenging task. So I think just having the machine come up with the relationships itself seem to be a more effective approach. And there are pros and cons to that approach as well, which I can get into.
Yeah, let's hear them. I would love to know too, like looking at your reasoning behind machine learning versus the angles, because I don't know if is there any type of data restriction memory? Is it something about maybe just time, scalability, anything like that?
Like, are you asking about restrictions for like the machine learning approach?
More so, what kind of brought you to the machine learning approach versus the angles? I know you talked a little bit about why angles are bad, but more specifically, like, was there memory issues? Was it time restriction? Was it, um, yeah, I'm not too entirely sure what brought you down that path.
One, the angle solution was seemed really complicated to implement to try to come up with some set of
Mm.
rules that would fit all body types. And that media pipe wouldn't glitch out and return like shitty angles that could like fuck everything up. I don't know if like is there language on this podcast? I don't know. Um, I don't know if I'm allowed to drop F-bombs on the Skilltree podcast. You can just bleep it out or something. So yeah, one, it was complicated as frick, and then two, I wanted to learn about machine learning.
I
Yeah,
see.
I was
Yeah.
curious. So yeah, I think it is the more effective approach overall.
Let's talk a little bit about what you're working on right now. I remember we chatted about this a little bit before, but something that you call the factory.
Yes. Yes. So behind all the machine learning models that get produced, there is a machine learning pipeline. So that's really what I've been spending most of my time on, is trying to come up with some way to produce machine learning models in a way that's scalable. Um, yeah, I would say scalable is the word. So for example, if you're training something like the push-up model, I'm collecting a bunch of videos of people doing push-ups, and then, I'm processing those on my local computer. But eventually, if you want a really accurate model that is generalizable across a whole bunch of cases, um, you're going to need a lot of videos. And those videos can't, like, it's going to take up a lot of space on your computer. Um, your team members are not going to have access to it unless you like text them or like send it over on Discord, which is not really efficient. And also like your computer might just not have like the compute power to process all of your data to train the models quick enough. um, in machine learning, it's not just about like your algorithm, but like time is a very big issue in machine learning. Like it takes a long time to train neural networks. And so you want to speed that up as much as possible. And so people will often use GPUs. And so to solve all these problems, storage, um, extra compute power. I tried my hand at AWS, which is kind of a fire hose of services and stuff that you got to learn. But yeah, it was a great experience. So yeah, I'm trying to build a machine learning pipeline that is reproducible for any kind of movement um, model that I want to build. So whether that's push up, whether that's plank, handstand, pistol squat, or more, I just follow the same four steps, and it reduces the engineering problem to purely one of data collection and feature engineering. So basically all the coding, all the engineering, all the infrastructure setup, that's taken care of, and now I can just get back to work and think purely from a machine learning perspective.
That's amazing. I think that the idea itself is very, very smart. There's so much that you have to do to make one model. And I know there's entire companies that will sell you models for like hundreds of dollars just to train one of them. And
Mm,
the what you've built is very, very valuable, especially um, with our vision to create a model for every exercise on the app. Um, I think that could totally be something that is used down the line. It really depends on, I think, what the users might feel and what our community wants as features in the future. Though I see a future where we take this kind of prototype that you've built and really beef it out. And as we get more users and funding to like, you look at a large company, I'm sure if they had the resources, they could, spend money to gather this data, this research, and make a very similar tool. Though I really don't see anybody doing that just yet, especially in our realm. So at least for a bootstrap startup like ourselves, this is going to be huge to
mm.
help scale in the future. Um, so I'm very excited to see the results as the factory gets more advanced and fleshed out. So
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think every companies that do machine learning, I think they all have like ML engineers that are building their own custom pipelines, and so this is just our custom pipeline for Skilltree. Um, and yeah, it's like hopefully, it'll be scalable, it'll be robust, applicable to a whole bunch of different movements. And yeah, I don't know. I am just excited. I think it's very applicable. And I think a lot of people could use it to build their own calisthenics machine learning models with MediaPipe. Yeah.
I do wonder, is it possible to do things other than calisthenics exercises from what you've built? Like I've seen a lot of people do stuff with weights and things with bands. Would this also be applicable there?
Yeah, I mean, I think the infrastructure is there, and I think it easily can be modified to fit a variety of use cases. So it's not just limited to calisthenics. I mean, the media pipe pose landmarker thing, very scientific. It tracks your entire body. So any kind of body weight movement that you can think of, you can train a machine learning model for it. And also, MediaPipe has other CNNs that they use. So they have one for hand detection. They have one for facial, for like that plots of points on your face. So you could extend this beyond purely body weight movements to recognize hand gestures, for example, or to recognize different facial expressions. So there is like a wide variety of use cases that this could have.
Amazing. Okay. Switching gears a little bit, I do want to ask about your kind of background with working with teams. I
Mm.
know for me personally, this is my first experience really leading a long-term project, and especially as we got much further down the line, like once we're so close to releasing the app. And
Mhm.
if you were to ask me, I want to say a year ago, I would have said, yeah, we probably would not have gotten this far, but
Mm.
I'm actually very impressed with the amount of work and how fast things have gone since then. And now we're at a point where I know the group has shifted a little bit. We've gone from really just trying to build a product, or sorry, build a project, and now we're trying to build a product and
Mhm. Mhm.
really make this a full, you know, revenue making business to really like pursue,
Mhm.
which I think is super cool, especially since it's so many of our passions. Like I myself can see myself working on Skilltree for a long, long time, and it's kind of crazy to think about with just being as new grads, seeing everyone do the normal internship to um, just like large company route, or even some people just go straight to working on I think their own startups. But yeah, it's kind of crazy to think like, yeah, this could be a full-time thing that you continue doing for the next few years.
Oh yeah, it is crazy. I mean, as projects get more complex, it could easily be a full-time job. Like it started off as an internship, 12 hours a week. But yeah, as these projects get bigger, as you write more and more lines of code, there's more and more room for optimization, more and more room for refactoring, and just maintaining and growing the product. It becomes a lot more complicated. And so this really could be like full-time job if we wanted to. We'll see how it does. We'll see if we can make enough money to make this a full-time job. But yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And you also touched upon teamwork. Um, I think as the leader of a calisthenics club, um, I I have several years of experience leading an organization. And there's a couple things that I've learned, but there's always like infinite amount of questions to be asked, things to be balanced. And so I kind of want to get your perspective on this. Um, my philosophy, my personal leadership philosophy, for a lot of college, was to be the hardest worker in the room. And then if you were the hardest worker in the room, other people will see that and they will naturally become inspired by the passion that you put into your projects, and they will naturally want to put in more themselves, and they will naturally want to help this vision grow. So if you really believe in your vision, and you put in the time, you put in the work, and people see that, people are going to want to be a part of that vision too, and they're going to want to put in that work themselves. Um, that was my personal philosophy for kind of leadership, and teamwork. Um, and yeah, I guess I think it is good for inspiration, but I think with that kind of philosophy where it's like I'm gonna be the hardest worker in the room, um, it is kind of solitary, I suppose, right? Like you want to be a hard worker, but you don't want to be doing everything yourself. So I guess how do you balance trying to be a hard worker, trying to show people that you care, and then, you know, not doing everything yourself? Because maybe it's not about doing everything yourself, you know?
Yeah, that's a great question. My view on leadership has really changed since my sophomore year of college, which is when I started the club. Um, I think very similar to you. For me, it was the fact that I felt like nothing would be done if I didn't take the first step.
Mhm.
I found a lot of things to. Uh, I spent a lot of time in high school doing art projects, and when you get started on art projects, you really just you get into it. You hate everything that you draw. When you're finished, you're
Yeah.
like, I need to fix this and fix that. And it was kind of the same mentality when it came to projects and initiatives that we started as a team in Trenton Fenix. Um, but at a certain point, I realized there's only so much that you can do. And like you said, yeah, you do need help. Um, you can't be the expert in everything.
Yeah.
You, and the best way to really do that is, I think to start, I think like you said, servant leadership is very much a good start, but being able to inspire others and also ask for if you can find a way to convince people to do things that are unreasonable, that is a sign of a good leader.
Hmm.
Like
People do things that are unreasonable.
an example that I can maybe bring is like, I think for so many of us, even myself, I think we want to go out there, get a paying job, get a software engineering position, product manager. But at the same time, I somehow convinced myself, and I think everybody else on the team, that let's spend time developing this app and its potential and really helping to facilitate the kind of motivations behind that is really where I see leadership being. And that's just from talking to people from classes. I had a great professor who brought in these speakers from different companies. Um, and it really shifted my perspective from being the hardest worker to being the one to inspire and lead and support. That's
Yeah.
pretty much it.
No, I totally agree. I used to think that the best leader was the one that does the most. But now I think that the best leader is the one that brings the most out of their team. And so that doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing the most, although you probably are at certain points in time. I think that does make sense. But really, like, what's your ability to inspire other people to see your vision and to really want to work for that vision and to do unreasonable things? So yeah, I totally agree that that it really not it's not leadership is not really a job of doing. It's a job of inspiring. Um, so. I mean, yeah, I just feel like we could keep going down this rabbit hole of like how do you inspire others? Um, yeah, how do you do that?
That's a great question. I personally don't have like a frame of reference
Yeah.
myself. I think it really comes from a passion. If you can convince yourself of something, you can convince other people. There's going to be plenty of people that think the same way that you do.
Yeah.
And if you can just convey your energy and your type of passion to them, there will be people that will come and follow. And I think we both experienced this, especially with the calisthenics movement. Um, like I feel in the same way that I think a lot of others do, where being in this space in this community is very different. I think we all have a very similar mindset and like drive that I really think is unique. And just like an experience like that has shown me that, yeah, you can just from a very simple concept, um, find people very like-minded. And a lot of times, more likely than not, they're gonna be having the same thoughts as you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know if
Yeah.
that's a great answer for you, but
Yeah. So you were talking about like a community. This community is unique. Can you expand a little bit on that? Unique in
from my experience, I will have to see from our users, but I've noticed the kind of shift from kind of street lifting in the last few years, the kind of traditional workout. If people don't know, calisthenics is very it was based from like prison workouts, like being able to just, get on the floor, get on a pull-up bar and do some exercises.
hmm
Um, but it's really expanded in the last few years. And the main community that I see are actually younger individuals, like students and even people in high school. Um, and oftentimes, some older individuals, like personally, I've helped to train some high schoolers, and even uh, there's a guy in his late 30s that wanted to learn how to do a handstand, for example. So
Mm.
there's definitely something out there for everyone, but everyone that I've seen kind of shares the same value of, they work hard. They have
Yeah.
uh vision for their future. And surprisingly, a lot of the students, at least, they're very much STEM related. So
That is
whether
interesting.
that be like engineering, computer science, even like, and I do economics, for example. So in that realm, like the style of thinking, I think is very similar. We all have like I see it as a we all learn things and can process things in a similar way because we've been through kind of like the same education.
Yeah.
Um, but it really comes down to that really like consistency and passion and drive I was talking about before. Being in other student clubs, it's something that I think a lot of people might have deep down, but they don't really act upon. And the calisthenics community, to me, I feel like really does kind of step on that pedal and say, okay, let's do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, we've all had that same calisthenics education where it's just pure push-ups, pure pull-ups, pure pain, pushing through the pain. That's our education. Um, Discipline. That's what we're about. And I think people in the calisthenics community, oftentimes people who go to the gym, like they get a reputation for being meatheads or whatever. But I've found that people in the calisthenics community are really quite the opposite. People that are driven in calisthenics and bodyweight training, they're often driven in many other areas of their life, because they take those lessons that they take from calisthenics, that discipline, and they apply it to their job, their family, their responsibilities, everything. People in the calisthenics community are people that care about discipline, are people that care about making the world a better place, people that are really positive minded, people that don't give up. There's just so many positive applications of calisthenics. Um, and Yeah, I think like if you are someone who is just getting into working out, and you think, oh, like, working out, it's gonna take up too much of my time, working out, it's gonna make me tired. Really, calisthenics training, it's gonna teach you so many lessons that you can take with you for the rest of your life that will supercharge the rest of your life. It will change your life for the better. And it will make you more productive. If Yeah, like I mean, taking care of your health, taking care of your body weight training, it's not it's not a waste of time. It's an investment into yourself, and it's going to pay off in dividends if you stick with it. So, if you're listening to this and you're just considering starting training calisthenics for the first time, do it, and stick with it. Start small, build up gradually. You're not going to regret it. Take it from someone who's been doing this for 5 years. It's given me so many blessings and taught me so many lessons, and I know that so many people in the community can say the same. So yeah, I just think the community is so beautiful too. Everybody's so supportive. Oh my God, I could go on. But anyways, I'm so glad that Skilltree is going to promote this sport.
Yeah, I could talk about this for hours and hours. But the last kind of thought I'll leave off with
Yeah,
here is really the concept of short, like small wins. That's really what we want to promote,
yeah,
even with
yeah,
our app.
yep.
Something that you will see with a lot of beginners in the gym is, you need to spend about 3 months to really see some visual feedback on, how you've been training. Like maybe you see your butt get a little bit bigger, you get some bigger
Yay!
biceps, right? But with calisthenics, oftentimes it takes a few weeks, right? Maybe
Yep.
you learn how to do your first push-up. You learn some people might be a little bit more advanced. They go and try to do their first muscle up. And very quickly you get that positive feedback loop. And it teaches you that, yeah, if you do a little bit, even just like 15 minutes or 30 minutes a day, you can really see uh, I want to say like you could just really see some very positive benefits. Is it compounding? Exponential. I want to say like exponential gains. Because yeah, like you said, that kind of mindset does get applied a lot of other places.
Yeah.
But that being said, I just want to wrap it up here today. I know it's been a little bit long, I would love to hear back from any listeners from the podcast, especially if you've been here for this long. If you could leave a comment, leave a like, we would really appreciate it. And yeah, let us know what you want to hear about next week. And if you are open to it, give the Skilltree app a download and share when it comes out, or sign up at our beta lists. So we have beta open uh, in a few weeks, and you can sign up just on our website. It's skilltreefitness.com. You scroll down to the bottom of the page, you can put your name and email in there, and we'll give you live updates on kind of where we're going and what we're building. So with that being said, I appreciate each and every one of you who are listening today. And if you know anyone else who would like to listen, give it a share. And that
Yeah,
is
and
about it.
if you've listened this far on our first podcast, personal thank you from me.